Lying in southwest Africa on the Atlantic, straddling the Tropic of Capricorn, Namibia is one of the most breathtaking countries in the world. Stunning scenery of endless dunes, dangerous coastlines, and an abundance of wildlife draw significant numbers of tourists to the country every year. The country seems like an idyllic setting for humans and wildlife to coexist. Behind the facade, however, you will find all is not well in Namibia. Namibia is a vast country, more than 3 times the size of the UK, but it has a population of around 2 million, similar to one of Britain's largest cities. It's the driest country south of the Sahara, with 92% of the country classified as arid or semi-arid. Despite the country's size, only 1% of the land has potential for growing crops. As most agriculture consists of livestock farming, they attract unwanted predatory wildlife who attack livestock as an easy meal. Non-aggressive wildlife that are merely roaming their territory are also present in these areas. Wildlife in this country is abundant, with a variety of species from the most feared predators to livestock. Conflicts between wildlife and humans occur worldwide, but in Namibia, the conflict situation is unique due to the varied terrain and limited resources for such a vast country. Conflict can arise from wildlife encroaching on human property, damaging crops or injuring humans. Increased human activity and the growth in areas with human settlement might lead to more tension, leading to targeting of predators in cases where livestock has been harmed. Walvis Bay lies on the west coast in the central region of Namibia. This is home to a protected lagoon, attracting migratory birds, and is home to 90% of South Africa's flamingo population. Pelicans and a whole host of seabirds also benefit from the lagoon. Walvis Bay is considered by some as an industrial city where trade and commerce are of paramount importance. Subsequently, dock areas neighbouring the lagoon and construction continue to develop and are visible all around the area, which is a growing threat to the protected lagoon as a safe haven for birds. Further down the coast, where the terrain becomes more rugged and the weather is more unpredictable, lies a small town called Luderitz. Luderitz is isolated from the majority of Namibia with a single road going through a diamond area, and it's over an hour away from the nearest town. This region is the last stronghold for the critically endangered brown hyena. Food source for the hyena is plentiful, with seals serving as easy meals for these creatures.
We estimate that we've got 90 brown hyenas in an area which has got 26,000 square kilometers. So in numbers, it is really, if you search for the hyenas, it's looking for a needle in a haystack, basically. Brown hyenas generally they are regarded as large carnivores, but they are not very effective hunters. They are mainly scavengers, and in the predator hierarchy, they are very low. So they don't stand much chance against lions or spotted hyenas. Also leopards, if it's a large leopard, is obviously faces a problem to a brown hyena.
Hyenas are in conflict with humans where they stray onto the fringes of towns and into rubbish dumps. They are also at risk from drivers, especially at night, as there is no lighting.
Yeah, the farmers tend to do that. When you go to the farmers and really talk to them, they admit that they've got a problem with identifying the problem animal. But they generally know, they assess the risk. So they say, if I've got a lion on my farm, it is a risk. So I want to get rid of it, whether it was the animal which killed now this livestock, but it will probably kill something eventually. So it's just like the associated risk or perceived risk of the predator and then towards the actual risk. And it's quite a difference. But the perceived risk is what the farmers go with. And the actual risk might not even be there. But, you know, it's a very touchy subject. And you know, one has to work together with the farmers and slowly sort of learn from them and educate them too. But if you just go there and say, oh, I know better, and they don't do that, they will never listen to you. So it's a very slow process.
Hyenas are typecast by the local people and farmers as the culprits for the death of livestock. But research, which has so far been carried out, has highlighted that hyenas are not responsible. Hyenas are radio tagged and the territories mapped to show their ranges, which provide evidence that hyenas were not in the area during a kill and are wrongfully blamed. The importance of research was also highlighted in its ability to influence planning and zoning decisions within national parks. Authorities designated some areas within the national park where den sites important to the brown hyena were found as wilderness areas, and also prevented the encroachment of the Lüderitz town boundaries on the national park, thereby preserving another significant den site for the brown hyena. Farmers in the north of Namibia, in the Caprivi region, have another issue with predators encroaching on their land. Keith is a joint owner of the Caprivi River Lodge, and he has a passion for the area and its wildlife.
To the north we've got a border of 90 kilometers, and north of our border is Zambia. This is a cut line, what we call this, a cut line separating two countries. To the south and to the southeast we've got Botswana. To the northwest we've got Angola. Zambia stretches around over to the east, and right at the far eastern part of the eastern Caprivi we've got four countries coming together: Namibia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Botswana. They all taper down into a tiny little point at the island.
Caprivi has a high population of around 80,000 in an area of 20,000 square kilometres. Poverty is more widespread here as a whole compared to the other regions of Namibia. Farming is the main industry, and conflicts are usually caused by elephants. With the population of elephants doubling over the past 10 years, and increasing numbers from neighbouring Botswana venturing into the Namibian farmlands in search of food, these conflicts are increasing.
There can be up to 20,000 elephants in the Caprivi. Now, remember, Caprivi is only 120 by about 110. It's not a very big place, eh? Now you bang in 20,000 elephant in there, tramping up this river to get to greener pastures. That's a hell of a lot of damage they can produce. And then they're going to come all the way back again.
Chobe National Park has a large population of elephants, and they use the Caprivi region as a crossing point between the national park and Zambia. There could be as many as 100,000 elephants at any one time in the Caprivi region, and they are coming into contact with humans and their farmland. Though elephants are not carnivores, they require around 150 kilograms of food per elephant per day, and due to their size, they can easily bulldoze their way through many defences that a farmer can make. Elephants are intelligent animals, and loud noises do not deter them from their destruction. There's a new way of protecting the farmers and preventing elephants conflicting with humans in a non-violent way, where the elephant does not die as a result. Chilies, in particular the capsicum chili, is a relatively new method of prevention. Chilies are grown by the local farmers in a section of their land. These are farmed and sorted out into good quality chilies and those that don't make the grade. The good chilies are sold at markets, and the substandard chilies are crushed finely and used for wildlife deterrence. Organisations are teaching the local communities to create chili bombs and chili rags for this purpose. To make chili bombs, the ground chili is mixed with elephant dung and compacted into a mug and hardened in the sun.
When it's dry, you place it around people's fields, and you burn it with a charcoal. And the smoke from the chili bomb, or another name is known as elephant coil, keeps away elephants from people's fields, crop fields.
The smell can travel for large distances, and it has been proven that elephants will avoid this smell.
It is recommended you have the two systems in place.
Another type of deterrent is rags draped on fences. An old rag is soaked in chili paste and old engine oil. Then the rags are hung up on the fences at the edges of the farmer's land and deters elephants. This also stops other wildlife from entering the farmland due to the dripping oil and chili mixture that falls onto the ground.
I would say before maybe people might have had a negative view of wildlife, but of late you find with the emergence of the conservancies like a country like in Namibia, where we have the community-based natural resource management program, which gives user rights to communities in communal areas to form conservancies, which is a legal entity. And with this legal entity, they are able to benefit from the resources in their area, whether it is a conservative or non-conservative means of benefit from wildlife.
Local communities are not killing wildlife anymore and looking at new ways of revenue such as tourism. Each community is responsible for its communal area, which is called a conservancy. Conservancies generate their own revenue, and as there is more money to be made in tourism through preserving wildlife, the incentive is there to attract as many tourists as possible. Despite tourists being a positive aspect to the reduction of conflicts, they need to regulate tourists' numbers. Walvis Bay is an example of how too many tourists can cause conflict to wildlife and the landscape. All this tourist traffic around Walvis Bay and the proximity of the dunes that are used for recreational activities such as quad biking is increasing the pressure for development of tourism infrastructure in Walvis Bay and nearby Swakopmund. If development continues at this pace, the lagoon will be at risk of being destroyed within 10 years. Namibian tourism is going to increase. By controlling the influx of tourists and creating lodges that are built to blend into the landscape, it will continue to attract the wildlife, resulting in tourists visiting for the unequalled splendour and hospitality that Namibia has to offer.
Before they were not getting any benefit from the wildlife, but presently, since they are getting benefit, they feel like, yes, we need to conserve this wildlife in our areas, because it's not only a problem, it is also a source of income.
Namibian on the whole is actually concentrating on more individual tourism. We've got a hell of a setup with game farms and good lodges, and there's an awful lot to do in the country.
From the lushest habitats to the harsh conditions of the Namib Desert, there are conflicts occurring throughout Namibia. But through important research, new ways of controlling things, from education, introducing new wildlife deterrent methods, to generating revenue from tourists, the situation is hopefully going to improve. Life changes and adaptations have had to take place. Some local farmers have given up on their livelihood and introduced wildlife onto their land, and opened it up as a safari lodge for tourists. In many ways, it's a shame to lose so many agricultural farms, but money is generated in other ways, and the uniqueness of Namibia can live on and be enjoyed by everyone.